Hey everybody, it's Alex here, and on today's episode of the YaBonks Show, I have a very special guest with me today. I have my lifelong childhood friend, Zach, here from bitfighters. And bitfighters is a really interesting game. It's a Web3 action-adventure RPG fighting game with an in-game economy where you fight other players for actual Bitcoin. And there is so much involved in this game, and it's actually something that long ago I helped Zach write the prototype game engine code for in person like 7 years ago, and now he has run with that for the last I don't know how many years and adapted it to the Web3 space and the technologies involved to make it really interesting and awesome game. So, with that being said, Zach, do you want to introduce yourself very briefly for the audience?
Hey, man, what's going on?
Hey.
It's awesome to be here. I'm super excited because this is the first time our worlds have collided out here.
Yes.
And I've been super pumped for this, man. I can't even tell you. So, yeah, great to be here. I'm super excited for what's about to happen, and you should be too. All right. So, yeah, hey, my name's Zach. Lifelong childhood friend of Alex is here. We go way back. And I'm here because of bitfighters, right? I'm on your show to talk about here bitfighters. And so I'm a game designer myself, and bitfighters is the game that I'm making for you guys. And I want to get this thing out there for you guys as quickly as possible. So, yeah, I guess if that's enough about me, how about on to the magic?
And we will jump more into your background here shortly and our relationship and also how you're a game developer in real life and all the skills and experience that you bring to the table with bitfighters. Now, for those who don't know yet, what is bitfighters? Can you give us an elevator pitch and like a bird's eye overview of what bitfighters is?
Yes, sir. All right. So bitfighters, guys, it's a super easy to access web browser game. You jump in there super quick. You get your bitfighters. You're in the game, and the game, like Alex said, it's all on Bitcoin. That is our native token here. That's I like to call it the Chuck E. Cheese token. So that's your currency that you're going to need to play the game, and that's your reward token you will get out of the game for all your prizes, any kind of rewards you get, drops in the game, whatever it may be. And that's going to go in and out of the game using Avalanche's BTCB to collateralize Bitcoin on their chain. And yeah, so we're super excited about it because we don't really see a lot of games out there that use a stable coin or one of the king of crypto out there as their game currency. 10 times out of 10, they're going to use their own native token, and unfortunately, they tend to have the same destiny. So we're trying to avoid all that and just use the perfect money. They already got that, so we don't need to work on a token. That's not our focus here. The focus is the game. A game for the players, by the players.
Yep, and I agree. And I love that you chose Bitcoin as the actual in-game reward token that your entire economy and ecosystem is based around. I think that's really smart. Now, before we really dive into how this all works and what the value proposition is and the risks and rewards and how it works and all that, do you have any news or important dates that you want to share with the audience before we dive into all that?
Yeah, hey, cool. Thanks for bringing that right up here for everybody. Yeah, so we currently have our second 1K Club prize fight going on right now. So this is only eligible to our VIP members, and we have 3 of these fights happening. The first one concluded last week. We're in the second one right now, and next week will be the grand prize for a $500 prize for the first place winner. So if you guys are keen to the project, check about joining the VIP club, and you can get in on the third one happening next week. And so that's going on right now. And with the end of that third prize will be the beginning of the game. So we're launching on October 1st. So mark your calendars, guys. That's when we open the doors for everybody. And we're currently 25+% minted out on our pre-sale right now. And so we have like almost 600 people last time I checked, like with bitfighters. I don't know about people. I'm sure there's less than that. I'm sure people have minted a handful. But there's at least about 600 of these bitfighters out there ready to be joining the game here soon. So we hope to see you guys there.
So you guys are launching on October 1st, 10/1, and that is, at the time of this recording, just a little over 2 weeks away. So that's very exciting. October 1st, launch date for Bitfighters. And if you haven't already, go to bitfighters.club, and there are links to their socials there. You can find their Discord server, Telegram, Twitter, all that good stuff. So, yeah, all right, Zach, what is the value proposition for a DeFi user that wants to play your game Bitfighters?
All right, guys. So let me start with this before I dive into all these all the value props and all the juicy gems of what this game brings. I just want to tell you guys the reason really why this game got so much momentum was because we started building this thinking, we wanted to be the change that we wanted to see in the space. I was sick of seeing these games all go to zero, and some of them were actually decent games, and it's unfortunate because then the chart gets ruined, the community disbands, and the thing's dead. And I was like, there's got to be a better way. These tokens are just killing it. And I get what's happening. We see there's winners and losers. It's clear, but then the project dies and it's over. I'm like, yeah, whatever. We're trying to make a game here, not whatever this is. I don't know what this is, but we don't want anything to do with it. And Bitfighters, or as previously known as Fight Me Now, that was the first game that came to my mind. I was like, what Web3 game would I make? And it was like, Fight Me Now, man. That was the concept. It was a Web3 game. We just didn't know it at the time. And that was it. So we started building it. So anyway, the value prop here is that this game is the one that I would want to play. This is the game that I was looking for. As like you, I'm like you, right? I want to play. I just want to find a good game that I can have a good time with, hang out with my friends, do hood rat stuff with my friends in the servers, and make some real money potentially.
Yeah.
But put it on the line, have that thrill, that adventure, and get into like a community that's like active and doing stuff in this metaverse internet space. That's what I was looking for. And these games were just terrible. They're grindy, terrible game mechanics, and I've been a game designer since I was a little kid, man. I was always making games. Always have been, always will. And I was like, we can fix this. And so Bitcoin it is, Fight Me Now it is, Bitfighters was born. So the value prop, guys, this game is built on Bitcoin. So most game tokens, they go right to the exchanges and they're sold for dollars. They want to dump those reward tokens and get the dollars, right? That's what they do. Smart people aren't going to do that with our game token. They're going to collect them if they know what they're doing. But if they don't and they want to sell them, that's fine too. It's not going to hurt us. You're not going to take us to zero. Sorry, guys.
Bitcoin has billions of dollars in liquidity.
Yeah, I think we're on like $500 billion. We're going back to the all-time high past $1 trillion. Come on, guys. If Bitcoin dies, we're all slaves forever, and our ancestors are doomed. Or not our ancestor. What do you want to call it? Our progeny.
Yeah, I just checked. At the time of this recording, it's $850 million in liquidity in Bitcoin, which I don't think if a few Bitfighters sell their winnings from a Bitfighters fight that they're going to swing the price all too much. So I like
game token can't be touched, guys. But everyone wants it, right? What a great reward to get. Ooh, I got some Bitcoin. Hey, yeah, go me. Right. So come on, it's the perfect money it's the best money we know of right now. Right. So why wouldn't we use it? I can't think of an alternative. Yeah. There is no number two. All right. So the value prop. So not only do we have this foundation built on digital gold, but now what are we doing? We are building an indefinite stack of utility. Everyone screams about utility this, utility that. Everything dies without utility. Well, that's our only purpose of existence, is to be utility. That's all we do is utility. So we're going to stretch the bounds with the NFTs and all the cool ERC stuff they got going on, and all the fun little contracts and stuff. And we're going to squeeze utility out of this stuff. And the first one we're launching with the core mechanic, the Bitfighters. So you get your guys in the game, and oh my goodness, the value props. Going back to, there's so many. So there's so many ways to earn. Someone asked me. They said, I'm not into fighting games. Can I still play this and have fun? I'm like, absolutely. You don't have to fight once in this game. You can hang out. It's a social game at the end of the day. And man, we'll get into it in a minute, but you and I go way back. We were experimenting and playing all kinds of games. We're testing these social web browser games, and we had a blast. We would laugh our asses off, staying up all night, just doing hood rat stuff in cyberspace, man.
Yeah.
And so that experience,
just meeting random people all over the world, just doing just fun stuff.
Now imagine if someone like me was working with the community to bring these ideas to life, and it's all on Bitcoin, and the possibilities are endless. All right, so I don't know where to start. Let's start with the Bitcoin element, right? So At the core launch, you're going to be able to bet on fights, and you're going to be able to battle each other and make your bets, make your wagers. So those will be that's the core kind of fight mechanic. On top of that is the gang referral system. And so this is a way, if you're like me, I'll be in the rings, I'll be betting, I'll be fighting, whatever. That's what I would do as a player. If I were going to be a player, that's what I would do. But people like you, people with some of this, the clout out here in the space, it's got these huge followings. My goodness, you guys, you can bring your whole communities into the game using the gang referral system. So everyone that joins the game, you got to have your ref code. You got to put a ref code in. If you don't have one, that's fine. There's a default. But if you do, you got to have someone as your gang leader, right? You got to put your ref code in. And so if you had a following our community and you had all those people come in and want to hang out in your club because it's your space, and this is what you're doing on Friday nights, and they're all joining, all of those members, no matter what they win, 2% of those winnings out of that 10% tax that we'll get into is going to their referrer, their gang leader. And so what a massive way to earn for people like you. So there's a lot of different ways to earn. And going back to the person that didn't like to fight, right? They can bet on fights right now. Soon they can be a mine owner or perhaps on a general store in town and sell items to the players. Remember, going back to the utility, all we're doing is building that model economy of Bitcoin on top of this, our core launch, right? So it's just features. We just iterate and roll out these features indefinitely. You can check out our roadmap for what we got going into 2024. But yeah, value props all day. I think that's all we're talking about actually today.
Yeah, so let me see if I understand and try to simplify this for the listeners. So if you're a DeFi user and you're trying to figure out how you can make some money or Bitcoin, which is obviously the best form of money that we got right now, how can you make some money in Bitfighters? You can fight other users and make bets and fight them one-on-one. And if they win the jackpot of Bitcoin for that
fight prize. The fight prize. So there is a jackpot feature, but this is just your fight prize. It's what you two agreed to. You guys agreed to this bet.
I'll bet you 50 Satoshis I can kick your ass, bro. You're on. Yeah. All right.
I bet 100. You're not going to take my 100. You do 50. All right, I'll do 50. And then we go into the ring and we duke it out.
All right. So you have fight prizes that you win from defeating other fighters in the ring, and other players can actually make bets on the ongoing fights. So if we have speculators out here, some betting sharks, they can make bets and say, I bet, Serenity is going to kick YaBonks' ass because Serenity has been playing this for a while now and he's really good at it. So somebody could take that bet and make money on the side. So you can make money fighting, you can make money betting on fights, you can make money buying, owning, and operating in-game assets from the in-game economy. You can grind and work in the in-game economy in different ways, like mining and doing different things. You can also, if you're a whale, for instance, you can get you can help develop the city blocks and the cityscapes of the game itself through staking gate keys, which we'll jump into later. And there's so many. And then if you are just an investor, you don't have time to game, but you want to have exposure to the success of Bitfighters long term, you can invest in the 1K Club NFTs, which give you a % of the Treasury share. So the money that the game generates for the in-game Treasury, part of it gets shared for the 1K NFT Club holders. So they just get passive income essentially from the game, and it grows and scales as the game grows and scales in success. And and then the other value proposition I can think of, you said the other one, the gangs, the referral system. So you have like a referral system for people who want to go out there and sign up people and their friends. They can make a lot of money that way. And I have a lot of friends that do that kind of thing, as other YouTubers do that kind of stuff. I don't really do the referral stuff for DeFi stuff, but I know a bunch of people who do, and they make a killing on it, and good for them. And the gangs are a way that anybody really can say, hey, join this game. Like if I signed up Serenity, for instance, and he's out here kicking ass in these fights, and he's making a killing, and I'm getting 2% or 10% of the fees. So yeah, you can make money through affiliate, referral system stuff. And then I'm sure I missed some, but then the other big value proposition, aside from all the potential money or Bitcoin you can make, is the fun of it, the actual fun of the game, having an actual Web3 game that is fun to play for hours and to hang out in, and just a whole actual world that doesn't suck like a lot of these other Web3 games that have, been attempted out here. So that's the other thing, is the value proposition is, aside from all those money-making aspects, the fun of the game. Did I get that right, and did I miss anything?
Yeah, you got it. And there's two more pieces we're going to add. The first one I'm gonna lead with, quick and short, is that 98% of the funds that come into this game go back to the players. The system, we call it, is scraping 2% to hopefully pay our server bills and whatnot, and maybe buy us a pack of ramen noodles, right? So that's what our worst fear is, that we might have to bump that to 3% or whatever to pay the bills. I don't know. It might be too low. I don't know. But remember, the game is for the players. Like, I want to make sure the players are having a blast, right? My game community, I had a game community before this, and it was about prizes. And I just love giving back to the community. And that's what I love about you, man. Your Friday shows, giving the prizes away. There's something about that, right? It feels great. And so that's what this is. The other one, so that's the value prop, 98% back to you guys. And the other one that I want to end with is that partnership mechanic, the Brew system.
That's right.
That allows any partner project or community to plug into this machine that we're building called Bitfighters. That is just a nuclear reactor core built on Bitcoin, and all the utility that just masses around it over time. And how cool is that we can take all that energy that we can make here and start porting it to other projects and communities. So there's a feature there too. And that mechanic is hardwired into the game. So without going into it much more, it's to play this game, you have to support one of these partner communities. You don't have a choice. It's just part of the game. So it incentivizes these communities to bring their communities to the game, to grow the Bitfighters player base, to bring more people, because you have to remember, we have no token to promote, all right? We have no token to defend. We're Bitcoin. I don't care if you like it. I don't care if you hate it. It's going to be here. Cry about it later. I don't care.
Yeah.
And that's cool, because now we're this like centralized neutral hub that we can bring all these different communities in, right? You can come from all over the place and see each other and be in this space and battle over Bitcoin and be part of the economy. So that's going to be cool. We are really excited about that. And that is something that we're rolling out is like immediately after launch. It's straight to that partnership mechanic, because we know that the player base is like of the utmost importance. And so running a game like this 24/7, you don't want to log in and there's no one there, right? That's not fun. You want to go to a party. You want a couple people in there and having some fun. So that's important, and we know that. And so everything we're doing right now is an effort to develop these communities and that we're looking for, and to see who's like, if you see the vision, and you understand what we're doing here, let's get you on the Brew machine. Send me a message.
Awesome. So you heard Zach. If you run a project, if you have a token and a community, they have a Brew system where they can actually plug into your token and give actual utility. It's basically like DeFi utility as a service. A lot of these projects and communities don't have an actual utility.
I think you just coined a term right there, man.
DeFi utility as a service. You offer projects and communities an actual utility. So instead of just these whole, pump and dump, supply and demand type projects that have no real utility, you can give them that utility by saying, hey, this token is an actual in-game utility token in the Bitfighter system, where Bitfighter players can buy this potion or this brew that is brewed, with their token. So you make up this magic token using this project's community's token, and you get some benefit from it in the game. And it costs nothing additional for the players of Bitfighters, because it's all built in. This is just an extra mechanic that value goes through a project's token, and it goes back to buying their token and adding buy pressure to the token of these communities and these projects that before might not have utility or buy pressure based on utility. And I think that's really cool, really awesome. So if you run a project or community and you're interested in that, talk with Zach here and his team and see if your project is a good fit for this. Yeah, so those are some awesome value propositions. We probably had 10 of them right there, which is why I tell people Bitfighters is a very in-depth game. There's so many layers to this thing, and so many ways you can actually play this game. You don't have to just sit there and fight other players. If you don't like fighting, you can be a farmer. You can go be a miner. You can go be a city builder and a landlord. Like, you could just hang out and like talk with people and see people give you free money. Like,
yes, you got it, man. You can literally loiter. You can loiter in public spaces. And you can say, hey, man, you got some bits. Hey, man, you got some bits. I'm sure that's going to happen.
Yes.
Hey, you know what else? Like, again, guys, if you guys know me, I'm a prize guy. Prize bots, bro.
Yeah, he's the prize bots guy, by the way. If you guys didn't know
prize bots, man.
He created an extremely successful international online game called Prize Bots a few years ago that was really big and always had so many people trying to play this game for a long time. And it was like a real world actuated like RC vehicle game where people were controlling it through their web browser, through like JavaScript and Python. Dude, it was nuts. And I helped him debug some of the code for it. Like, it was so hot. It was super advanced stuff. It was so cool, man. And I know you love the prizes.
Yeah, we're going to get back to telerobotics one day, guys. Stick with me. We'll get the telerobotic games back online.
Telerobotic games, man.
Yes.
Those were crazy times.
Yeah, man. You were, so being a good friend of mine, you got to test the prototype before I even launched that platform. I was doing my own Flask server experiments at home. Didn't even know that team existed that we were partnered with. And yeah, you were my first testers, and it was cool, man. We'll go into other games and whatever later, but
yeah, Zach has been developing games, and I've been, semi-developing games for years and years now. And Zach,
we had our Unity heydays, man. Remember we go back and forth on Unity games?
Yeah,
how fun was that, dude?
Oh, man.
Hey, man, push a new update, give it a try. We did that for like 2 years, man. Just building games on Unity straight and just passing URLs back and forth. And
multiplayer games and everything with JavaScript, like node socket IO stuff. Like, anyway, dude, before we get into the weeds on that, Bitfighters. People are going to be here for Bitfighters, and it's good for them to know we've got this long history of developing games together in real life, mind you. We grew up together, and now I live in Florida and all that, and run this animal sanctuary, but we're still best friends. And he has really taken the game development to the next level with Bitfighters. So all those skills and experience and all this stuff over the years, and you're a game developer in real life at your day job. So you do this day in and day out, night and day, and you live and breathe game development. And now you've taken it to the next level with Bitfighters into the Web3 space, which I love, and I know you love, and you're creating all these opportunities for all these people and projects and things like that. And you've created a game that's so like in depth and just, it's such a huge world. When you start going through it, there's so many pieces to this puzzle. It's so cool. It's not like these other games that are just like some of these games are so atrocious. Like, I can't even play them. And
let's just talk about Axie for a minute, man. Everyone knows Axie.
Okay.
The last time I played that game, it was unplayable. I couldn't force myself to play that game. Yeah. Like, it was a chore. Terrible.
And I won't play a game like that. I don't even have time to game really anymore. But if I am going to game, it better be something awesome or something I can make potentially a few bucks at, so that I could justify to my wife that I'm not just playing a game, I'm making money.
I'm grinding, babe.
Yeah, I'm paying
I'm the fighting champion in this club. No one can beat me. I'm undefeated.
I'm paying the bills right now. And it's just like 16-bit Bitfighters and like the old retro arcade synth music.
Listen, dude. Here's what's up. I use this example all the time, and I'm going to refer to it forever because it will forever blow my mind. But when I found out these people in the Philippines or whatever, Southeast Asia, were making a living, quitting their jobs, working from home during the COVID days, selling smooth love potions on the market, grinding out, working for their managers back in the States,
Yeah.
All the people that had the money to buy the Axes, and these guys were farming them out. And that was just like, wow, is this real? You know, and that was just the beginning. And now we're in AI world and whatever. I'm just, is this real? But it's crazy, man. So it's just like, why not Bitcoin? If they could do it with some smooth love potions, I don't know if there still are. I don't know where that charge is. I haven't looked at it in a minute. I'm sure it doesn't look pretty, but I don't know. Prove me wrong if it doesn't. That's fine. It's that's not going to happen here, right? So you get Bitcoin reward tokens, man. There's nothing better than that, right?
So, right. If I can play a game and make Bitcoin, like, I'll be more inclined to play that game than me trying to play a game where maybe the native token trends very close to zero and eventually is worthless. What incentive am I going to have to play that game?
And that's assuming that it was a good game, that you actually enjoyed playing it to begin with.
Yeah. But if there's a game, even if it's marginally good, and I can just sit there and make Bitcoin doing all sorts of different things, why, if I'm going to play a game, I'd probably play something like that. And for those who are wondering what kind of game it is, to me, it reminds me of Stardew Valley.
Let's get into it, bro. Let's show it to them.
So I'll share my screen and just kind of share a few pictures while we talk.
Yeah, and let me walk you through the whole process, because you just got into the 1K club. So welcome, congratulations on that.
Thank you. And so, like, this is the view of the game. It's kind of top down, and it reminds me of something like, I don't know, like Gaia Online that we used to play. But also it's a fighting game. So it's got this cool aspect where you walk around in this, what is this, an isometric view, and it's 2D, but with like an actual 3D map here where you can go back and down and left and right, WASD controls, and you can interact with not just other players here, but things in the game like the brew machines, all this stuff. And then out in the like world map, if you will, like this, there are buildings. All right. So this is why it reminds me of like Stardew Valley, or what's that one game that you used to play a lot? Old school game.
Earthbound, bro.
Earthbound. Yes. It reminds me of Earthbound.
That's the same projection, the oblique projection. It used the same. In my opinion, it's such a cool projection to use for 2D assets. And so, like a small game like this, where we don't have a lot of budget, to create our assets. So we got to do it fast. We got to do it quick and dirty, right? So we got to whip up some 2D pixel art. And so how cool is it to use a nice projection like this? Like, I love it.
I do too. So you can see here in the game, you've got the Earthbound style. Also reminds me of stuff like Harvest Moon or Stardew Valley with the buildings and the map. And like, here's a mine and there's a hotel. There's the
mind you guys, all these buildings that you're seeing here, these are player-owned buildings. Someone owns that mine.
Each city, except for the Genesis city, essentially is owned by somebody. That's correct. Then the buildings in each city are also owned by different people, potentially. And there's a whole economy here, and if you want to go mine stuff, you can go mine stuff and then sell it and make Bitcoin that way. If you just want to sit here and grind for hours in the mines, like, you can do that. There's the hotel here. Like, here's an example of the mines. You can sit here and mine stuff. This reminds me of Stardew Valley so much right here, and I loved that part of the game.
So what you guys are seeing right here is these three players have paid another player an entry fee, right? So they went to this mine and they said, okay, this is Bob's mine. He's going to charge me $50 for 2 minutes. Okay, let me look at what's going on here. Look at the scan report. The scan report is going to tell you what's hiding. It's going to tell you how many rocks are in there. It's going to tell me how much Bitcoin, how much USD, maybe we got some AVAX in there, whatever we got hiding in the rocks, it's going to show me what's in there. Now I got to make a decision. All right, I see there's this many rocks. I know these rocks are this difficult to crack, right? Bigger ones take a little more work to crack than the smaller ones. And is it worth it? Can I ROI on this? Do I think I have the skills and the ability to go down there and get my money's worth and get back out? Or maybe I'm just looking for resources, right? Like maybe I want some iron ore or something I can go take to the factory and craft something. Maybe that's what I'm looking for. But whatever it is, I have some kind of mission when I signed this contract with this other player. I'm saying, yeah, I agree. I'll pay your terms. Give me my 2 minutes and you go in there and you do your work. Meanwhile, that mine owner, he's trying to do the same thing. And again, this is just real world economy modeling, right? This guy, he had to pay for this mine. That mine wasn't free, right? There's value in that mine, which, maybe he wants to sell his mine. He's done with the business. Maybe 50% of the resources have been mined out. He doesn't want to mess with it anymore. He's a high roller. He wants to go get a fresh mine. He pawns it up to someone like me that can't afford a fresh one. I can only afford one that's, some other guy on secondhand store. So there's that market. There's another way to make money. Now you're a used mine salesman, flipping mines.
I'm telling you,
anyway.
that's there are so many layers to this game with this in-game economy where bitfighters, the fighting aspect, is only the beginning. And
it's just the beginning. This is just what we're launching with October 1st. Just the fights, the bets, and then after that, you're in the city. And the next building that'll come out will be the clubs. And the club is the same thing as the HQ that you see here. It's the fighting and the betting, but you guys get to own your own. Now you have your own clubs. So that'll be the first release. And then we go through the economy loop after that. And then it's the mines. Then we had the factories. And then we have the shops. And that completes the first rollout of the core economy. After that, guys, sky's the limit. Cloning centers.
What are the four?
Research facilities, robotic factories. I mean, this seriously, like you have no... I'm not joking. Like all we're doing is building utility on Bitcoin. That's all it is forever.
And I know you're not joking because all the stuff you told me like years ago that you're going to add to this game, you added to this game. Like the stuff you have already just blows my mind. And the fact that you guys actually implement it, you and Vader and your team, mind blowing that you've taken it to this level already. And you guys are like just hitting your stride. And you've got all these plans that like to somebody, we hear a lot of stuff in DeFi, in these DeFi projects, and people will say, we'll give you this utility for the token in Q3 of 2023 or something. And then that comes around and it gets delayed. And all of a sudden
and they raise millions of dollars,
and then nothing. And then the project's just like gone. Yeah. Right. And it's like all these empty promises where you guys are actually putting your money where your mouth is. You're walking the walk. You say you're going to do something and you actually do it. And it's blown my mind because I'm used to like all this wishy-washy stuff out here. And when a team actually builds something they say they're going to build, I'm often super impressed by that. And you guys have done some incredible development here, and as a software engineer, I know this stuff isn't easy. I know you guys are actually doing this stuff. I know you in person. I know you have the skills to do this, and I know Vader is extremely talented, and it's just so cool watching you guys actually build and roll out feature after feature after feature in this like complicated video game that's multiplayer. Like there's a lot of technical aptitude here that people might not appreciate. But I've seen this thing behind the scenes since the beginning, even before Web3. I know how complicated this stuff is. Multiplayer, browser-based video games that are real-time. It's very tricky stuff. You really have to work at it for years and have a really skilled team. So it just blows my mind you guys are actually pulling the stuff off that you're saying in your roadmap. Whereas if I saw your roadmap on anybody else's project, basically, I'd be like, no way. No way. But you guys have already done so much of that stuff that I have no doubt you're going to keep developing all these awesome ideas you have because you've already done so much that I thought, I'm like, no way he's actually going to do that. I believed in you. Obviously, I believed in you, Zach. Right?
Oh, thanks.
Always have. But at the same time, I'm just like, man.
It's ambitious. This project got shelved at one time because it got shelved so many times. I didn't get shelved one time. It got shelved many times. I mean, we shelved it, right? We're like, oh, yeah, that was good. We're done with this now. We fast forward like 7 years or whatever. And I'm like, this is the Web3 game. Like, I couldn't think of a better one. I'm like, this is it. This is the Web3 game.
Right.
And I knew that I couldn't build it solo. There's no way. I mean, how many times did I ping you? Yo, bro. Wait, let's start with the first time. So the first time I ever pitched this to you, I'll never forget it, man. I was like, yo, I got an idea. Meet me at Bangkok for a lunch. I'll see you there.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, check this out. I got an idea, man. I know a way we can make some money. We got these live fights. People bet on it. We spam ads everywhere. It's gonna work. And then we had a blast building the prototype. We shelved it. We brought it back out, and I got to a prototype enough to where I could use it to go find my developer, and that's where I was blessed with Vader, Lord Vader, man. Oh my goodness, like seriously, absolute miracle. If it wasn't for him, I tell him this all the time. I said, bro, if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be here today, man. Oh, you would have found some other developer. Nah, you would be good. I'm like, no, dude, I don't believe it. I wouldn't trade him for anyone, man. You give me the best dev in the world, I wouldn't roll the dice on him. I keep Vader all day, man.
You got super lucky.
He saw what I was doing. He's like, all right, dude, why else would you want to work with someone crazy like me? Number one.
Yeah.
God bless my wife, man. She puts up with me. I don't know how. And those two, man, my heroes. Yeah. And number two, I mean, he's built this game with me for over a year now. No one would do that didn't really believe in it, you know? And guys, Vader, he's the top-notch professional. He works at one of the largest game streaming companies in the world, okay? Right. This dude is a mastermind wizard. He is levels above me. I am a junior dev at best. I can build little prototypes. I like to code at night as a hobby, right? And guys, for the record, I am not a game developer, professional game developer. I'm like a game designer, product owner, right? I'm like the visionary guy that builds the prototypes. I do the concept art and the mock-ups, and then I go find the professionals that can actually realize these things, right? Because I'm like junior. I'm the jack of all trades, right? Yeah. I'm just the guy that's like, let's do this. It's cool. You think so? No? Okay, well, maybe we'll do something else. How about this? Cool. All right, let's do it. And then we're all awesome. Everyone's awesome. We make awesome stuff.
Yeah.
And so anyway, Vader's awesome, dude. You're awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thanks,
and everyone watching this video, if you're still here watching this, you're awesome too. And I can't wait to see you in the HQ. Dr. Bit says, what's up?
I love it, man. And yeah, Vader is amazing. And it really amazes me that you guys have pulled this off. And yeah, I can't wait to see it go live publicly.
Weeks away. Hey, but you get your first sneak preview. You want to get into it? You want to check the game out?
Not yet. I have other questions first. I want to.
All right, cool. I kind of want to go through this economy loops game slide here. Yes. I mean, use like a slideshow because it really does explain the core economy loop pretty well, I think.
I agree. So let's start out. You know, you got the doctor here. What's his name?
That's Dr. Bits.
Dr. Bits. All right. If you don't know who Dr. Bits is, you're missing out. Go subscribe to Bitfighters on YouTube. Dr. Bits is the narrator who will take you on your journey learning about Bitfighters. He's hilarious. I love the voice that he has. So do you want to explain? Say I'm a new player and I just minted my Bitfighter NFT. I got my character, and what happens? What do I do next?
You're gonna find yourself here in the HQ. And the HQ right now is a sealed building, right? Because the cities, we don't have the city and the streets and the other buildings yet. So you're going to find yourself in an HQ room, and that's where you're able to go to the fight machine that you see here in this picture. And you're able to queue up for a fight. You can place your bet and queue up, or you can bet on other people's fights. Behind that is the ATM. The ATM is the interface system that you're going to use to get your bits in and out of the game. So you're going to bring your AVAX BTCB over to the game. You send it through the ATM, you get your credits, your bits in the game. And then when you're happy, you're satisfied, you want to take your bits out, you go back to the ATM and then you make your withdrawal back to your wallet.
Awesome. So I take my AVAX BTCB, which is like a wrapped form of Bitcoin.
It's not wrapped. It's a little bit different than the wrap form that we see on other networks. Okay. That's actually a reason why we went with AVAX. Their system, it's super simple, elegant, and we liked it. And that it obviously met one of the requirements that we're looking for in our network was a good Bitcoin, collateralized Bitcoin, of course.
Okay.
And yeah, they won out of all of their networks.
So you chose AVAX for one reason among many, that they have the BTCB token, the collateralized Bitcoin on the AVAX chain. And am I correct in saying that you're actually working with AVAX Labs in some way?
Ava Labs, yeah, they did our KYC for us. So
okay,
they got us secured over there on their side. And we hang out with them in Telegram. So we're part of the Ava Labs community over there, and they're huge proponents on BTCB, as you may imagine. I mean, they're running they got the wallet system over there, and that's how you're going to use the core system, the core wallet, to go back and forth from raw BTC over to the AVAX chain. And just their way of doing it, we looked at it. You know, I wasn't a personal user of AVAX before we started using them, and I was just stuck on the Binance Smart Chain world for a while, dabbled in Polygon and some other ones. Not to mention terrible Ethereum back in the Axie days. I'll never go back there again. Terrible. Yeah. And we just put it all on the table. We're like, all right, we need a good network. This one's awesome, but it's not out yet. It's like barely testnet or whatever. That's not going to work. Okay, what's next? And yeah, AVAX just kind of hit it all for us. They were what we were looking for. The scalability, you know, with the subnet systems they got going on, and the decentralized nature of it, and of course the collateralized Bitcoin. We couldn't find anything better. If you guys know anything better, let us know. Maybe there's a migration I didn't need post launch, but right now, yeah, shout out to Avalanche, man. They seem to be doing all the right things for the GameFi community.
Awesome, and I love the super cheap gas fees over there. That is awesome. So yeah, you go here, you exchange your BTCB for in-game bits.
Yeah, so the bits, just for you guys, you know, what's a bit? A bit is just 100 Satoshi, right? And that's kind of our lowest the lowest denomination of our in-game token is 1 bit or 100 Satoshi. And so you pull your bits in from your wallet into the game, and then vice versa when you want to get out.
Okay, so once you pull your tokens into the game tracks how many bits you have, and you come over here and you place a bet for a fight. So do I come over here and say, I want to fight, you know, Serenity next, and end up in some kind of like a fight queue?
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, we're gonna get into the game in just a second. Hopefully there's some players out there we can show the community. But yeah, you're gonna see the whole the fight menu, sign up for the fight, make your bet, and then join the queue. And it'll look for the best match for you. It'll find the closest to your bet, and if not, it'll give you whoever's next in line.
So here's the betting machine over here for the fights. You come over here, you sign up for your fight, or you make a bet on a fight that's ongoing or going to happen. And this is where it's going down. This is the ring right here. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, we call that the arena. And so yeah, wherever there's an arena, that's just a reserved space for the fighters.
Okay, and then you got all these other characters hanging out here, talking smack, getting crazy, hooting and hollering and hyping, and can all of these players here chat with each other?
Oh yeah, it's very much a social game.
Very cool.
I mean, you can even send emojis back and forth. You know, we got emojis for sure. Gotta have emojis.
The controls here, if I were fighting, it's W, A, S, and D. Just like any other computer game, basically.
Real-time action.
And then how do I punch or kick?
You can use K and P on the keyboard or left and right click. That's what we have for default. We're going to get some key binding options later on, but for right now, some simple mechanics.
All right, K and P for kick and punch, or left click, right click. All right, very cool. So that's a fight. And if you win the fight, what happens?
So it'll take, like I said, it takes the lowest bet between the two players and matches those. It'll put in the prize pot. And then once the game concludes, either by a KO or a TKO, if the clock runs out, the game server determines the winner, and the winner is credited those bits to their bag.
Okay, good to know. And then if somebody loses, they just walk away. Do they have to do anything after they lose?
Yeah, so you're going to have to heal up. So there's never going to be a case that I've ever seen that you're not going to leave this ring unscathed. You're going to take some damage. And so that's where the Brew partner system comes in. You're going to have to heal back up with a Brew. Okay,
and let me see. Is there a Brew station on the screen here?
I'm not sure. Yeah, you might find one in the other club. There should be. Yeah, you're always going to find one in each club.
Here, this machine, right? With the the soda can above.
Yeah, you can see these D-gens hanging around the Brew machine.
Yeah, they're sipping on some brews here. So you leave the fight, you've lost some health points. You need to heal up before ideally you should heal up before you fight again. So you come over to the brew machine, and then what?
You hit it, and that's when your UI is going to pop up, and you're going to be able to select which flavor you want. And depending on which flavor you select, it's going to determine which partner, which community you're sponsoring.
Oh, interesting. So any of the healing potions or the healing brews here go and support a partner community or project that has partnered with bitfighters to have, DeFi utility as a service.
Yep.
Brought to you through the game. Very cool. And as a lot of you might know, one of the original big communities, and by communities I mean the members of the community themselves that are a big proponent of this game are the drip community, who have been looking for an actual utility for their token for over a year.
Too long, man. Too long.
Everybody's been wanting an actual utility for the drip token, and the community loves bitfighters. So there's a strong, drip community members, not the team or anything like that, but like the community members are really behind bitfighters because they want to have some like community built utility for their token to help it survive and become sustainable, or fight off some of that sell pressure. And that's cool that they can come here and buy like a drip potion to support their project that they're in. So not only are they potentially making money in bitfighters through Bitcoin if they win or do bets or do all this other stuff, but they can support the other tokens in their wallet that they want.
So we want to just
help.
get representation from like where your home community, wherever you're coming from, right? So you're gonna have, like I said, you have to vote for someone. You got to choose a flavor. So you're gonna choose your hometown, like where you coming from, who you repping.
Right.
Like I would fully expect, your tight community, your core members would be like YaBonks flavor all day, hitting that yellow button.
So there is a YaBonks flavor healing potion.
We're definitely gonna put a YaBonks flavor in there.
That's awesome, and I
gotta do it for the animals, man. We'll put it. It'll be for the nonprofit.
That's amazing.
Support the animals.
If you do that, absolutely send it directly to the Animal Sanctuary official donation wallet, and we will accept it as an official donation to the nonprofit charity. Perfect. We are a registered 501c3 and all that, so that's super cool.
That's a use case, man. Utility as a service.
My Animal Sanctuary now has an in-game video game utility.
Yes.
I love it. Well, that's super cool. So you can support your favorite projects and tokens, or even a charity. I love it, through whatever flavor of healing potion you choose to regain your health points at no extra cost to you, the player. And you just choose, which community or project you want to support, and you don't notice anything, you don't pay anything extra.
You do. No, you got to pay something. So you're paying your bits for these drinks.
That's what I mean, but you would be paying for the health potion regardless.
Exactly. Yeah. So the bits that go to these drinks. So currently, half of it goes to whatever flavor you're voting for, and the other half goes to the prize pool of that tier, the building that you're in. So 100% of it goes back to the players one way or another.
Awesome. So this prize pool, then, how does somebody win the prize pool?
So prize pools and jackpots are two of the prize features that we have. The difference, of course, is that a prize pool will have a couple different tiers that'll fill up these buckets. So the 10% PPS tax that we have for prizes, products, and services is scraping some percents off and filling up these prize pools and these jackpots. And once the thresholds are met, then we'll see a prize drop event happen. So like I said earlier, loitering is a value proposition. You could be in the right place at the right time, and boom, prize drop. You just did nothing for an hour besides talk crap and produce zero value. But just because you were hanging out, that is your value. No, I'm sorry, I take that back. You provided a lot of value. Your presence. Sure. And that's what I want to highlight, is that engaging with the game is going to increase your likelihood, potentially, maybe, I don't know, of winning some prizes. If you're not going to win a prize if you're not there, right? So you got to hang out.
So you're telling me there's the possibility, if you were just loitering, not spending any bits, not spending money, just sitting there talking or not talking, but you're there. You're present in the building. If the prize pool randomly deploys, a prize will drop from the sky somewhere into the room, and you just go over, and if you're the first person to pick it up, you just get those bits.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just get that free money. So you can actually make money just loitering in a game.
That's the prize. Yeah. Yeah. We drop prizes.
I love that concept because I have spent many an hour loitering in online worlds. And
That's
if I
creepy,
could,
man.
yeah, you were there with me, bro. And
we were loving it. We were laughing so hard. I was crying, man, for sure.
I love it. Yeah, it's so much fun, especially, you're doing it with friends and you're making friends, and then all of a sudden a prize drops nearby and you run over and you grab it, and you don't just get like, oh, hey, I found a drop in a game that gave me some boost, some magically boosted armor. No, this is I just found some Bitcoin, guys. I just found a bag of Bitcoin. I'm freaking out. Like,
got it.
That's super exciting and fun to me. So that's another value proposition we missed earlier. Potential prize drops, even if you're just sitting there loitering. So that's super interesting.
So the jackpot system, again, it's a prize, obviously, and it's a little bit different. So what happens is every time you win a fight, you get a chance at seeing the jackpot wheel. And the more days that go by without anyone winning the jackpot, the higher the likelihood is that you will see the jackpot wheel. Now, if you do happen to get lucky enough to see the jackpot wheel, what you're going to do is you're going to spin it, and there's 1 through 100. And now when you mint your Bitfighter, you have to enter your lucky number. You have to enter a number 1 through 100. If you hit your lucky number for that Bitfighter, you win that jackpot. And so the odds of winning it are very difficult at the beginning because there's nothing in it. Someone just won it. It needs to fill up. And the longer it goes on for, I think like once it hits 90 days or so, it's pretty frequent. It's like 1 out of 10 fights, 1 out of 10 winners will see it. And then you get your chance. That's spinning the wheel, 1 in 100, a 1% chance.
And that's the big jackpot prize.
So that thing just builds and builds and builds and builds until some lucky guy gets a chance at the wheel, hits his number, and he gets a massive prize drop.
Have you run any simulations or like theoretical calculations on, if you have X amount of players in this space over X amount of, weeks or whatever?
Yeah.
What kind of numbers would somebody be looking at potentially?
I can't say for sure because it really depends.
Like a wildly successful, like the game's popping off, everybody's playing. What would be like a potential, like if somebody win like 10 grand of Bitcoin?
For sure. I couldn't say like, with any kind of positivity, but of absolutes, but I can definitely say that the way that it was modeled, that we wanted like when it hits 3 months, like 90 days, that's where it starts becoming a little more frequent. We don't want it to go on too much longer than that because there's still the chance that you still got to get that 1% hit, so it could still go on for a while after that. But after 3 months, we're like, okay, now we're increasing your odds dramatically compared to at the beginning. And of course, we don't want you to win at the beginning because there's nothing to win. It's empty. You don't want to win an empty jackpot. The chances are like really slim, but how disappointing. You get super lucky and you win a couple bucks. But down the road, I mean, how fun. Like every other fighter seeing the jackpot wheel, everyone's spinning it. It's going to be lit, man. People are going to be going nuts.
Everybody's playing,
everyone's going to be trying to win because the chances of winning the jackpot are huge.
That's super cool. So that's interesting. So in addition to the fighting, the betting, you go and you buy the health potions, which help support communities that support the game and everything. And then it also goes towards the prize pool that randomly drops in front of you that you can just pick up even if you're loitering, or to the jackpot prize, which is the big prize that could, get really high up there in value and is very rare, but the winner of that is going to be a very happy person, potentially, and your likelihood of seeing the jackpot wheel pop up and your chance to win that jackpot prize increases the longer it goes that nobody has won it. And if nobody wins it for 90 days, it drastically increases to where everybody's seeing it all the time, trying to win that huge jackpot. All right, I think I understand.
That's it, man. You got it.
All right, so what else did I miss? What's that?
Yeah, moving on. We nailed it. So what you're seeing here is the club. This is what comes next. We're in the
This is the
HQ right
club.
now. This is someone's club. Some player owns this building, and they're generating revenue on every fight, on every brew sale, on everything that's happening in here is taxed and is paid to the building owner.
So you're saying someday I could buy a club myself, and like I would just get a percentage of the action going on in my club, the fights.
Yeah. So your incentive
everything.
is to hold events, create activity inside that club. Like you want to make that place as active as possible because that's how you monetize it.
Awesome. And I do believe this is the club in this example here, the club lounge. You go in here, you do the fights, you do all the shady betting on the fights and win the prizes and the jackpot prizes and all that. And somebody can own one of these in a city.
Hey, here, this is gonna blow your mind. I'm gonna tie this back to the jackpot, right? So going back, the PPS tax is really important to understand. It's a 10% tax, and it's broken down into some different pools where all the funds are going to. That's what's feeding the prize pool in the jackpot. The PPS tax is a tax on every prize, product, and service in the game. So anytime that you benefit in the game and you earn or win or whatever, including a jackpot. So if you just won the jackpot, 10% of it is taxed.
Interesting.
Okay? And so if someone wins, it's just like a winning lottery ticket, the Quickie Mart that sold it, they get a kickback, right?
Yeah.
You do too. If someone wins the jackpot in your club, you get 2% of that jackpot.
Interesting.
If you are that person's gang leader, you get 2% of that jackpot.
No way. So if I had signed up my friend.
If your friend wins the jackpot, you get 2% of it automatically.
No way.
So you want your whole crew to be winning that. Everyone, go win that jackpot, guys. Go, go, go.
Yeah, for sure. So if that's crazy. So if somebody that you signed up for bitfighters and they create an account under your gang and they win that huge jackpot potentially, you would get 2% of that. And then also if you are a landlord in the game and you just want to own the club and get a piece of the action going on in your club in that city, you would get a piece of any of the jackpots that pop off in that specific club that you own.
Yes. And another 2% of that 10% tax, shout out to the 1K club, goes to the Treasury. So the Treasury absorbs 2% of it. Now the 1K club are cheering because they don't care who wins, because the 1K club going to get 2% of it and their Treasury getting divs every month. Forever. Because the Treasury is a black hole, man. As long as the 1K club, because they are the Treasury stakeholders and managers, they get to vote on how this thing is allocated. As long as they don't rug themselves, we're going to give them a curated list. We're going to vet the sources first and then let them pick from like a selection. But yeah, as long as they manage it properly and stuff and grow that Treasury, I mean, they get rewarded every month forever.
Amazing. So many different ways. And that really shows how valuable those 1K Club NFTs are, because that's game wide, where as like the club owner only gets that piece of that jackpot tax in their specific club. But if you're a 1K NFT holder, you would get a percentage of all the jackpots in all the clubs in the entire game and all the cities of all the game, which is potentially infinite.
Exactly.
So if this game grows massive, like do you remember the game Second Life? The map sprawl on that as the game expanded and people bought plots, like I did. I bought land in Second Life and I created a business. You know, if you're a 1K club holder, you get in early and support the project and the game. Then, if this thing gets to a crazy level like that, those 1K club NFTs become extremely valuable. And that's why, the 1K club in the Discord server has such a tight-knit community already who sees the big vision for this. I think that's really
nothing
really
makes
awesome.
Nothing makes me happier than like when it clicks for people and like, oh, I get it, man. If I just hold one of these cards, just one of them, I just get these dividends from the bitfighters Treasury. That just is this black hole. It absorbs 2% tax on every winning in the game. So yeah, as long as the game, I mean, you're right. It kind of it mirrors the success of the game. And in a lot of ways, the game does itself, as you'll see. Like the game itself doesn't grow unless the community grows, right? It's just one little city. You got to play the gate game to get the next city to grow the game.
Right.
And the game is all about, and it kind of just, it models Bitcoin in a lot of ways, right? Like the Genesis block, it's kind of named after that. It starts, there's a beginning, and it kind of grows through time. Same thing with a lot of the aspects of the game. But
so let's jump in to the buildings, the cities, the gate keys, and how all of that stuff ties together. Now, Zach, what am I looking at here? You are now sharing your screen of the actual game itself. Is that right?
Yeah, so this is our lab server right now. So this is where the guys are hanging out and where the fights are taking place. So we get our last prize fight. It starts this Friday and runs all the way through next Friday, the 29th. And the winner of this fight will receive a $500 prize. Concluding that prize fight, we will begin to launch the game. For everybody, the gates will open.
Awesome. So $500 prize fight. Currently open, and that's super exciting stuff. $500. It's like a lot of money to win in a video game. I love it. So yeah, tell me what am I looking at here?
Yeah, so this is just the HQs that we got going on, and these are going to be the simple rooms that we launch with, and it's displaying what we have as our core fight mechanics, our betting system, the gang referral system, and of course our precious brew system, where the players are going to purchase their potions and heal themselves, and of course, support their beloved communities back at home. So that's a really cool system we have. We're really excited about that, and we got a lot of features planned for the Brew system we'll be rolling out through the rest of this year. But yeah, this kind of just exemplifies the core features, and then from here into next year, no dates, but we'll come the door, and that will give you access to the city, and that's what we're about to jump into now. So I'm super excited about the city, guys. This is where things like really open up and get super crazy, and it's going to be sweet. All right, so here we're outside of the club, outside the HQ, and so this is what the players can expect to see. So this will be the next big feature that we open up with as the game is growing after launch. And now it gets fun because the players can go ahead and own their own fight club that we just saw back in the HQ there. So what we see is our helper character named Chuck is outside of Club Underground, and this Club Underground is owned by another player who's operating a business inside this game, charging Bitcoin for these people to play these games, these players to hang out. They might have some other kind of revenue generating streams inside that club. So all kinds of really cool stuff. I mean, imagination is the limit of what kind of things you can put in there of revenue generating things. And so folks at home, I mean, just use your imagination. Think of all the different things, like jukebox. You want to play some dude's music or something. You got some kind of content creator who's got his new track he's coming out with, support him. He can load his stuff up in there, and you can give him a couple bits to play a couple of his tracks, man. He'd love that. He'd be in there hanging out with you guys and play some of his tracks.
I love that idea. We've actually got a couple musicians in the YaBonks community in our Discord server, and they share their music and like what they're whipping on sometimes, and that would be a really cool feature.
Imagine like buying the dude's album inside this game, right? And you can go take it back to your place and jam with it or something, And so it's going to be super cool with the whole Bitcoin as a currency, the whole ecosystem. There's just infinite possibilities. So here we see just two examples, two businesses. The other one, of course, is the game, which is super cool. Oh my goodness. Talk about limitations. There is nothing here, right? So this thing is just an infinite hole of features. And just think any kind of mini game where we can reuse this, the Bitfighter sprite sheet that you guys are getting when you mint and own your Bitfighter or get on the third-party markets. However you obtain it, you get this whole 60 frame sprite sheet, and these animations we can use for all kinds of cool stuff. So just imagine like some side scroller beat 'em ups, right? So a game could be you and your buddies all throw down some coin, and you want to play this game, and the clock starts. You're teleported to this other game. Now it's a side scroll beat 'em up with some. Now it's PVE, right? And you gotta beat this game. You beat this game, you win the prize. You don't, oops, sorry, try again. And so there's so much we can do with this. One of the first ones we talked about was just a simple paintball game where, it's like 5v5. You guys get into teams, you throw down, and whoever wins, that team takes home the pot. And something simple like that would be really cool just to get the features going for the game. So players can own.
That. It's a game in a games in a game. I love that. Yeah. That reminds me of Second Life, and I used to actually really get into that kind of thing where I would be making games in a game for other players to play in that world. Yeah.
And what's beautiful about it is it ties right back to the economy. Now it's another stream of business that someone's has these games. Like if you want to play them and stuff, and it's a cool game, you got to go to his place to do that.
Nice.
Yeah. So quickly, just before we jump into the boring documentation,
real quick.
Yeah.
I also want to ask, since this is DeFi, right? Decentralized finance, and really focusing in on actual utility use cases for NFTs, non-fungible tokens. And when you speak about a jukebox where user-made music can be uploaded to the game, would those tracks or albums be actual NFTs that the creator of that music would be able to mint to other players, that they would then have an NFT showing that they actually have ownership, the rights to this music in their own wallet, provable on chain, so that way when they go and they want to like play on their radio or whatever that song, they can do so because they own it in their wallet, or they could go to the jukebox and play it because they've already paid for it. Am I understanding this correctly?
Yeah, so with that system, this system's way out, guys. So this is not coming anytime soon. This might be like 2025. At the rate we're going, right? Of course, our number one goal
I guess I'm just pointing out the
accelerate. No. I'm not.
How NFT technology could actually be implemented.
Just quickly because this stuff's super exciting. And our number one goal, guys, is just to grow our team so we can rapidly develop and get these features out. Okay, but this is what it would look like. All we're going to do is you got a Bitfighter, cool. So let's scan the other NFTs that we recognize, and one of them might be like MP3 standard or whatever it is, right? It's some kind of URI that points to some MP3. We recognize that from whatever this, I don't know, I'm a blockchain rookie myself, but maybe there's some kind of standard we can look for. We pull them all in, we show, blah, 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 you got all these tracks, good job. And we just display that. We put it in the game as, some kind of, CD or whatever in your bag. You can go check your inventory, you see what you own, you can go play that and everything. You can take it wherever you want in the game. So getting them from, it's not a matter of getting them out of the game so much as it is, they already exist. We know that, right? So It's how do we just scan and pull that in? And that's not just for, CDs or music or anything, music files. That's for anything, any kind of property that we want, like intellectual property that we want to pull in this game or partner with or recognize or give utility to, back to that beautiful word, sky's the limit. And so it's just a matter of what the players want first.
And it'd be really cool because it's like, if I own this, CD, this track or like album in my little, bag in the game, and I go to somebody's club in some other city, they've got a jukebox, and I put a few bits in, and I pick a song that I own the rights to play, and it would actually play for all the other players in the club. They would all be hearing the music that I own and own the rights to play, and they could all listen to it at the same time. And I think that's just a really crazy, interesting concept that I've never really heard of anything like that.
It's going to be so much fun. Man, we can go on this stuff forever. So just that whole presentation feature.
Nobody steal that idea before they implement it, all right?
Go for it. We can do it together and find the best ways.
I love it. Yeah.
But that presentation feature, the ability to stream to others, I think is so cool. Because imagine just like getting on the microphone, like having some kind of like live stream like chat, or having some kind of karaoke, or having some kind of like mic night, while you sit here and play your acoustic guitar for your followers in your cafe that you staked in like the cool hip town.
Man.
You can do whatever you want. Yeah.
Yeah. I know this really cool dive bar over in City Block 87. You guys want to go?
They got red caps, man. They got those hot red caps, man. We got to get those. Not everyone can craft them. Only the guys over in City 17 got them.
Hey, man, I hear their jackpot's about to pop off over in City 87. We got to get over to the club.
But Joey, we ain't got no ride. What are we going to do? You got to wait for the bus, man. The transit's going to be here. That's owned by King Jake, man. King Jake owns the transit. You got to pay him respects when you go through his tunnels, man. Go through his gate systems.
Look, I'm just going to call it in-game Uber. Some dude's just driving Ubers in the game to make bits. So he can
exactly. Yes, that's right. And you know what? You better go to that local insurance shop, man. You better insure that vehicle. you don't want to crash. That's worth a lot of bits, man. Vehicles are.
Man.
Think of the process. You got to mine those resources, take them to the factory, make the components, assemble the components to make this vehicle, and then someone's going to sell it off the factory lot. That's going to be worth a lot of bit. Hey, look at that dude, man. He's got a look at this ride, man. You better get insurance. Someone needs to own. Someone needs to be the insurance owner. Who's going to provide that premium? Someone who's going to take that risk.
I know a guy in DeFi, in the DeFi insurance business. I'll hit him up and be like, "You trying to get in on the in-game insurance game?"
I need to talk to people like that. I need to, yeah.
Hey, all right. So tell me how these cities work. Let's say the game. It starts with what? One city block, is it?
Yeah, the Genesis block.
The Genesis block.
Yeah, so what you guys are what's going to happen at launch? At launch, you're all going to go into these HQ rooms. It's just going to be like 100-player rooms to fight in, to hang out. And then once the city launch happens, that whole kind of like room structure will no longer exist. Instead, there will be one world server, each like geographically placed around the world. And each of those will have one Genesis city. And it will only support like 500 people at one time, right? So there's going to be buildings going on. So you can have like 100 people there, 100 people here, 500 there. But there's going to be a capacity problem, obviously. If this game gains any kind of traction and people want to hang out, and you see like concurrent users in the hundreds of thousands, whatever it may be. So that's what's really cool about this is the game scales as necessary.
Nice.
And it rewards the player to do so. And so, yeah, a lot of this is modeled, the scaling model of it, in going back to the Genesis block, right? It's kind of modeled on adoption curves in Bitcoin itself. And so what we have is the gate system, and that grants ownership to the player that cracks the code, solves the puzzle, opens up that gate. They own the whole next city block. And yeah, if you want to get into that right now.
Yes, let's talk about the mechanics of some of these features.
All right, cool. Yeah, so let's take you to the Genesis City then, because this kind of explains it. Maybe not the greatest, but hopefully it helps you guys. So Genesis City is that first city block it'll have 48 different plots to put your buildings on. So it's scarce. Like property's gonna be super scarce. So not everyone's gonna be able to get a business going, right? It's gonna be kind of maybe a rush. I don't know. Maybe we'll see what happens. But the clubs will come out first, then we'll do the mines. We'll go through that whole ecosystem. And once that happens and we start hitting max capacity, the gates are going to start going live. And what's going to happen when the gates go live is it'll unlock these adjacent cities. So the Genesis city is the only block in this game that's going to have 4 doors. There's a door on each of these walls right here of the city. And so if a player that unlocks these doors, they win the ownership to that whole next city. And that's like the greatest piece of ownership in this game, probably next to the 1K club cards where you can get a piece of the treasury. I mean, this is actually a literal piece of the game. Like you own this digital property where activity is taking place and reaping the benefits of that. So it's pretty cool. And so there's, we get to how that happens in the gate system. Do you want to dive in more on the city and talk about the plots?
Yeah.
Buildings?
So how do I get a city? I want a city. How do I get one?
Okay. Yeah. So you got to play the gate game, and what the gate, crack the gate code here. And so the best way I can explain it is a combination of the game Wordle with the SHA-256 Bitcoin algo, that makes it so special and secure. Mm-hmm. And it's what we're trying to do here is solve kind of just a random string. And to make, if you guys know how that Wordle game goes, if not, check it out. But you're guessing letters and you're trying to get the right one. If not, it'll tell you if that letter exists in the string or if it doesn't at all. So it's somewhere in there. And it's kind of a persistent multiplayer game where these players are taking turns trying to crack it. And you're trying to go down the row and try to get this string solved. And the player that does and gets that last character, the gates open, you get to mint the NFT for the city ownership. And now there's all this property. Everyone can come into this. Everyone's gonna be super excited about getting new buildings and stuff going. And then there's 3 more new gates and it spreads. Nice. And so it's really cool how it scales. And so the gate keys. So let's talk about that. So to play the gate mini game, you have to have a gate key. 1 gate key equals 1 try. Okay. And so if you want to take a bunch of tries, you're going to need a bunch of keys. The only way to get these keys is to stake your BTCB inside these gate key machines, inside the HQs. So you have to generate these gate keys. And what's cool, it's kind of we needed. It came out of a kind of a culmination of a bunch of things happening that need to be solved at the same time. Is how we got to this. How I got to this. this idea of whales need somewhere to go, because this game is $6 a minute bit fighter, right? Like anyone in the world that has a phone can probably get into this game. It's a very low bar to entry. And the players with big cash, right? If they want to throw that somewhere, they're going to need somebody either to take their bet, or other players that want to are into like high risk businesses or whatever's going on, or big money businesses, right? And that's not going to happen for a little ways off. But what they can do is they can stake big BTCB here in these key machines and generate a flow of gate keys. Now you think about it as there's I see it as two different revenue streams here, potential revenue streams. Number one, they could just sell these gate keys on the market, right? To let players like me, who doesn't have really enough cash to generate these things, well, if I can go buy them, cool, because now this guy is making an income stream by selling them. I get what I need, so I can go play this game and try to get ownership. But maybe this big whale player likes the game. Maybe they want city ownership. So what's cool is they can throw down a stack, mint these gate keys, generate these things, and then go play this game and have a really high likelihood of winning, because no one can keep up with them, right?
Yeah. So
it's kind of cool. And
interesting.
So I call it harness the power of the whale, right? We don't let them, they're not hurting us, not so much, right? They got a better chance of property ownership, but with the biggest piece of the game.
That doesn't hurt anyone.
It doesn't hurt anyone. I mean, because the game's on a scale, and you have your chance too. You can get lucky, or you can try to get these gate keys, whatever. But what's cool is they also generate player rewards. So there's a tax to get into the gate machine and to generate these keys and to get out. And that tax goes 100% to the players to fill those prize pools. So nice. we harness the power of the whale, right?
Cool.
Yeah,
I like that.
So a mini game, it gets gate ownership, and now you're cracking the codes, and it's just kind of like 0-0, right? The center of the universe of this server, this world server, right. Genesis City. And then from there, we see where it goes. And then these plots, this stuff is just explaining I wish I had a drawing here, but imagine just a bunch of squares inside these cities. Yeah. And it's just like the land, right? There's only so much land that you can put the buildings. We got some buildings in here. This stuff has been updated in a long time. Don't think this stuff is all coming out at launch. It's definitely not. If I had this thing tailored to launch, it'd be pretty darn short. So this is to kind of show you our roadmap, which we do have on here. So you can that's what I would refer you to, guys. Check the roadmap. Yeah. So here we go. October, you got your mainnet launch. We're launching October 1st. I'm sure we mentioned that in the previous cut of this. Yep. If you guys didn't know, October 1st, we're coming out with these features. Like I mentioned earlier, PvP combat, the betting on the fighters. You can also tip your fighters. How cool is that? So say you got the dude in the ring, he's doing good, right? You bet on him 5 times in a row. He's kicking ass. He's winning a ton of money for him. I'm going to tip him. I'm going to give him 10%, 20%. Now he sees when he's fighting, he's going to see his prize his prize jump up. He's going to see he's getting tips. People oh man, if your heart's not already pounding and you see more money on the line, like going up, like you better win, man. Because if you win, you're getting fat tips.
Nice.
Oh yeah. It's going to be a good time. Yeah. And so 100 player rooms. So everyone can bring their friends, communities, and hang out. And this what's cool about it is the current system is it just scales. So however many people want to join, we just split up another HQ, get another 100 people in. So everyone's welcome to join October 1st.
Awesome, dude. I like it. Yeah, and then it looks like in a few months the gate system and everything goes live.
Oh yeah, so into next year here, the city shenanigans. This is where we start having. This is where it starts getting crazy fun, right? So this is when we get into the cities.
And that's that's February 2024 and January
these dates. Sorry guys, maybe a little typo here. Okay. This is this is next year, guys. 2024. Got it. Phase 3, 2024. I'll fix that after the call. So we get into the Genesis City, opens up in January, the clubs and the city gates. So we'll have time to launch. We just want to listen to the players, get the feedback, tune it up, make sure everyone's really happy. Kind of see like the minor wish list stuff, like, hey, what kind of UI stuff you guys want, any kind of like other features. And we spend the next couple months just kind of tuning everything and making sure everyone's happy. And then next comes everyone can start getting their clubs going, and we'll see what happens with as people start to deck out their clubs and hold events and tournaments and all kinds of cool stuff. So
people have already been fighting and playing against each other, and in the development servers, and I've been hearing about it a lot in the 1K club. And Serenity, my good buddy, he's been kicking a lot of ass, I hear, because he's been practicing. And that's kind of cool that he's a gamer at heart, and he's the kind of person who he will get like really, really into a game. And he got really, really into bitfighters the past few weeks. And it sounds like he has like practiced and honed his skills and is really, really good at the game now. So to where he's like, he could wipe the floor with people in the arena, which is awesome. Like, it's a fair game. Anybody can, you're a fair fight of skill. He practiced, he got really good. Yeah. Now he has a better chance of winning because he's played the game more.
Exactly.
I like those kind of games because that means if you've got the time and the will to grind and practice and get good, you can monetize that in this game in Bitcoin. Yeah. So tell me how the fighting system works.
It's highly competitive. That's for sure. And so I was blown away by these guys. So you got to think. So Vader and I, we got this thing 80%, right? Because we just battle amongst ourselves for so long. And it's like, after a while, you got to call on your friends. And so we're ready. Open up the lab. So we got our VIP guys in. So if you guys didn't know, the 1K Club, it's our VIP membership. And if you guys hold one of these cards, you get access to our lab server and all these cool prize games and special events. So yeah, these guys have been playing for the last, 2-3 weeks now for two prize games. Our third one's coming up here. So we've given away 2 prizes. The third one's coming up. And yeah, these guys, they put hours in, man. They were saying they were addicted and stuff. Like, they couldn't stop. I was like, okay, that's cool. And we were getting some awesome feedback, and they were destroying me. I would get in the ring. I could not win. They were teaching me things that we didn't even know you could do.
Wow. That's why you have to have game testers, right? To find all that stuff. And that's so cool that
it's cool. I taught them my tricks, right? Which really they're not tricks. I mean, everyone's going to figure these things out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And the next day they're teaching me their tricks, and I was like, oh my goodness, man, it's pretty cool because just to show the game, and it's pretty late. No one's connected right now. But I'm sure they're all playing Call of Duty or something, right? The prize game hasn't started yet. You can see prize game starts Friday, September 2nd. But yeah, it's pretty simple. We're kicking, we're punching. But what's cool is there's a stamina bar. And of course, if you get gassed, you're vulnerable. And you're liable to get take a whooping there. And so you're kind of, you're just stunned for a couple seconds, depending on your stamina, how fast you can recover. But what's cool is, and you guys just saw me get a brew here. This brew is our first item we're rolling out with. And these are very strategic. As you can see, I'm holding my brew in my inventory, my quick equip right here, right? I can open this. But the other players don't know that. And so right now it's the brew. You can assume that I have a brew, and there's strategy to the game. If you guys just go check out our YouTube, you can see some live gameplay and how the players are using brews strategically in the game. Because when you use them, you're going to heal yourself if you're successful. But you leave yourself open for an attack, and then you take some serious damage, and then maybe it wasn't worth it after all. So there's a lot of risk in trying to heal yourself in the ring, but there's a lot of reward too. A lot of these fights are won by decision because someone gets that brew in at the last minute, last second. They're 1 minute rounds, and they take home the win just simply because they got brew drinking skills, right? They can just slam one down and they heal up. And so you got to watch that guy. You can't get too much of a distance. So there's a lot of strategy. So if you're trying to play that clock out, he's your opponent's a little weaker than you. You're playing the clock. Well, that's not a great thing for a couple of reasons. First, there's a regen rate tied to health. So the guy's got a higher health AP than you, attribute point system. He's got to regenerate, and then he might get the advantage. Or he could just slam a brew, and then boom, you put distance between you, but maybe you should have closed in a little sooner because now you had time to get that thing down. Yeah, and so anyway, I want to show you guys just the ability to hide your item, because what's cool about this is the players, they're not going to know what you have. You could be holding a knife or a crowbar or your pet rat or something. No one really knows what you got until you pull it out. And so we have one item right now, and next will probably be a hand weapon, something that we get to when we get into the early businesses and shops. But yeah, it's simple, but it's really cool because there's a lot of depth to it, and you guys will see that in the ring.
Awesome. And how does the damage system work? And what kind of attacks can you do, and how do you actually damage the other opponent?
Yeah, so it's pretty simple, straightforward. Simple math here, and I'll take you guys to the attribute point system. So when you guys are generating your bit fighters, first of all, we need to decide its rarity scale here. So we need to decide if it's a common, an uncommon, or a rare bit fighter. And depending on its rarity, we'll determine its stock baseline attribute point allocation, which could either be 20 for a common or an uncommon, or the rares get 21, a 5% advantage. And so is there an edge there? Maybe, yeah. I mean, mathematically, yeah. They have one more AP. They have 5% more AP than these guys. So will they seek a higher value in the market? Potentially. We'll have to see, right? Attribute points. So then we'll see over here where those attribute points come into play. So here's your 20 for your common and uncommons, your 21s for the rares, and the 22s for the ultra rares. So the third tier of rarity, which only 69 of these will ever exist, have a 10% advantage over the commons. And here we get to the AP system. So we have defense coming out here first. These are in alphabetical order. And so depending on what you roll a 0 through a 5 for each of these. And yeah, the commons will get 20. So you just roll for these until you get 20. And depending on what you roll determines your defense, health. There's 6 of these attributes: your kick, your punch, your speed, and your stamina. And so all of those combined will determine the style of play you have. For example, you could have someone with a high stamina, high attack, low defense, low health, and they're going to cause a lot of damage, but you better be really guarding your stamina and monitoring, because if you get gassed too early, you're going to pay for it. It's interesting, guys. It's listen to some of these guys' videos when they explain kind of this fight system. It's really basic, but there's a lot of depth to it. So yeah, I mean, another thing to point, we go back to stamina. Stamina is a big deal. It's very valuable in this game, as you can imagine. It even comes down to like running, and the speed is affected to stamina, and so is your defense. For example, these higher defense players, it sounds good, but you got to consider something. What's really cool about a defense player is this nullify chance. I want to point that out. So for a level 5 AP and a defense guy, every quarter, every 25% of the attacks that he takes are just nullified. 0 damage, 0 damage, 0 damage. 25% chance. Pretty legit, right? But the downside is that you're losing stamina. So you're losing 25% of that attack's damage value in stamina. So as you're defending this stuff, yeah, it's cool, but you're getting gassed, right? You can only do it for so long before you need to change it up and get out of there. So yeah, health has a regen rate, but it also has a max. You can only regen so much. After that, you better go get a brew. That's the only way you're going to top yourself off and get to a full 100.
Okay.
Your kicks, this is like your heavy attack, right? These are going to cause massive damage, but they're slower, and the attack value is equal to the stamina consumption. So these are heavy hitters, but they're going to take up 10 stamina points too.
Oh, wow. So
you better place them very nicely. Punches are cool. So punches are actually half stamina. They're 50% less stamina cost. They're weaker, but you can use them to get your way out. I don't want to talk too much about the strategy of the game. I'll leave that for you guys to figure out. But it's cool because it's a punch and a kick, but they have their own use case. And it's going to be up to you guys how you play your characters. And same with speeds. You get your walk and your run speed and your stamina consumption. And of course, the stamina here. Just kind of explaining when your stamina hits 0, you go into a stun state, your regen per second of stamina, and how long it takes you to recover from that stunned state.
Yeah.
You are exhausted. Yeah, so that's the AP system. So this determines kind of your character and how you're going to win with them, essentially.
Awesome. Now, what about the combat?
Yeah, so it's pretty simple. It's you got a punch and kick. It's just what we do. Go back to AP points here. We just take the damage value of the attack, so a kick or a punch, whatever value this is, and then we subtract whatever the damage is. So auto reduction bonus. So if it's a 10, right? If you kick me with a 10 and I have only a 1 defense AP, it would be a 9. I would take a 9. And so what you'll see when you guys get into a battle and you got the UI going, you'll see each other's attribute points and you'll see the damage that's being taken. And the mental math is pretty simple. You could say my attack is this, their defense is that.
Yeah.
And you're seeing like the damage counters pop off. Yeah. So yep.
Interesting. And can you see other players' attribute points, or is that a mystery to you?
No, you can check out all the players. You can go, there's an info button. So there's no one in here right now, but you can click on it. So
I can tell if I'm about to fight a tank, basically. Yeah. Interesting.
And so the other players could too, right? So when they're betting, right, everyone might bet on that tank guy, right? Or this guy that's an ultra rare with a good KD ratio.
Yeah.
So maybe not a lot of people are going to take the other side on that bet. Not a lot of people are going to risk their money on the other guy if this guy's got a really good record.
And then would there be like a multiplier on that bet if you take the less likely chance? Like
it's a zero sum. So someone's got to be taking their side of it.
I see zero sum. Okay, interesting. So if one person bets on like the underdog and everybody else puts like, a combined $100 that the tank is going to win, the underdog's going to lose, but one guy's like, I think the underdog's going to win. I'll take.
You can take that whole bet.
Take that whole bet.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. So how does the combat work then? Like, can you block or anything like that, or?
So we have a couple layers of combat systems that we've worked on, and we're launching with just the first kind of generation, as we refer to it, which is just this kind of subtraction formula, where if you take a hit, we take away the damage. It's basically what you guys saw over here in this attribute point sheet here.
Yeah.
There is a second phase we were working on, and that goes into rock, paper, scissors with the blocking. And we do there's a blocks sheet sprite sheet that on the sprite sheet we have, there's a block frame. We use that in this game, but we developed some other purposes for it. So we're going to play this. We're going to launch with this system. There's some architecture that we were working on that we wanted to have in place before we rolled out this next generation of fight system. And we just kind of want to let this kind of see kind of where it takes us before we do that. We don't want to change it up too much at this point. So yeah, that's in the backlog for now. But there was originally a block feature, an actual button where you could block your player. That adds a whole another dynamic to the fight system.
Yeah, definitely. All right, cool. So what else do you got in the white paper there that we haven't covered yet? That's current in the game.
We talked about the cities, the gate keys, those are the big things. So we talked about, I believe, some of these buildings.
Yes.
The ecosystem was the mine. We don't have it here. The factory, the shop, and the gyms of the clubs.
Nice.
Economics, we didn't touch on this, I don't think.
No, and I was going to get to that next, so I think this would be a good time. I've got it all printed out here. I've been going over it, and so do you want to kind of tell us what we're looking at here? How does the in-game economy work on a macro scale?
Sure. So it all starts over here as we mint an NFT or bring one to existence, and that's our key to the game, which is not the only way to play the game. There's also a guest feature, so anyone can just click the button and join an HQ and play and hang out. They just, of course, don't own that Bitfighter, but they're welcome to use the ATM system and play games and like everybody else. There'll be some limitations to that. But okay. How this system works. So we're starting over here. We're minting an NFT or whatever it is, one of our building or a Bitfighter. So 50 to system, 50 to treasury. The system is everything that takes care of the operations, of course, right? All our servers, the utilities, the marketing, promotions, development, keeping the lights on, keeping this thing going. And treasury, we're super keen on this treasury. This is what I'm really excited about. I'm a Bitcoin maxi myself, so it really excites me to kind of just create this black hole to just absorb all this Bitcoin and just see the value of this protocol just get massive,
right?
And reward those treasury stakeholders accordingly. So you'll see a lot in this economic flow how we just feed to the treasury. And I got a little note here. This is legible on the screen or not? I don't know. I'm not sure, but it says the 1K club votes to decide how the treasury is utilized. So what's cool about that is being a treasury stakeholder, they get to ultimately choose. So we prescribe them some options, right? Like maybe some partner farms, something we're comfortable with our risk, of being kind of the protocol owners, and kind of let them vote from there, right? What do you guys want to do? Do you want to trade some of this for something else? Are you guys Bitcoin maxis too? How much of it do you want to hold? And they can decide or have a vote on how that's managed.
Nice.
And okay, so yeah, then we'll just go up here to the treasury yield, following the arrow. So 10% goes back to the treasury, 20% to the prize pools. We're feeding those too, you'll see in a lot of ways. 30% goes to the system, and 40% goes back to the 1K club members. Just basically how many cards you hold is how many shares of that 40% you're going to receive. So it's pretty cool. So just by having a card in your wallet, you will just get these airdrops of Bitcoin to your wallet forever and ever as long as this game is running.
That's awesome. And the Treasury, the 1K Club, kind of acts like a DAO, like where it's like a decentralized autonomous organization or whatever that votes on
we might get there. We might iterate to that eventually. But for right now, it's just a bunch of dudes hanging out in Discord, clicking emojis and voting on things.
So it's like, it's DAO-ish, you know.
Yeah. I mean, a little bit of democracy.
It's some decentralization there with decision making of investments and things like that. That's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then going over to, we call this the PPS tax, the prize, product, and service tax. So this is like any way that a player benefits in the game. You win a prize. You just kind of, your business is profiting, whatever you earn or you're benefiting, there's this tax, a 10% tax.
Yeah.
And so what'll happen is 2% of your earnings go to whoever owns that building, whatever property owner that you won that prize in. So in the previous clip, we talked about a jackpot, right? So if someone wins a jackpot in your club, that building owner, that lucky building owner is getting 2% of that.
Nice.
2% goes to your gang leader. So whoever you signed under or whoever you're hanging out with. 1% goes to the prize pools, 1% to the jackpot, 2% to our system, and then 2% to the treasury. And that concludes the 10% PPS tax.
Okay. Nice.
And it's pretty simple, right? I mean, this is kind of the full eco loop here. This is kind of how the funds flow, and then that's it.
That's pretty simple and easy to understand once you look at it. All right. So what about let's see. You also have a partnership economics section as well. And that ties into the special edition fighters and the different types of brews that you can get at the brew machine. Is that right?
Yeah. So what we got going on there is just a really simple way to partner with our favorite communities, projects. We can hook you guys up to the brew machine that gives you guys Bitcoin utility and plugs you into the whole Bitfighters universe. So, and that's cool because it's hardwired to the game. So everyone's got to buy a brew. Everyone's got to use it to heal. And so they're going to have to pick a flavor, right? So they could pick YaBonks flavor, for example, right? And support the farm operation. Or they can pick their Pay Frogs or whatever kind of scam shit coins they're dealing with, right? Whatever community that they want to support, they can pick their flavor. And what's cool is it's not all going to be like the brews, right? There'll be like some, we're excited about some other flavors that do like stamina replenishment. Because how cool would that be? You pop out your Jolt drink, now your stamina, you get some boost, right? You're low on stamina, about to get stunned, not so fast. Charge it back up and keep throwing those tank power kicks, right?
Yeah.
So that's going to be really cool. So that gives a lot of utility and representation to these different communities and partners. So we're super excited about that. The special edition fighter. So that's just something we're going to do for our other special partners that we want to do. If they want to do something a little more to give some kind of visual representation to the game. But that's not something we're not doing right away. We're just going to stick with the brew system and get that one going. That's actually one of our main growth tactics, is to bring as many partners and communities into the game as we can.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's a great way to do it. So, what about the like the wallet situation here? So I think I have a pretty good understanding now of the game itself, how it exists when it's going to launch, with the HQ and the fighting, the betting, the brew system, and how the in-game economics work. I have a good idea now of how all that works, and I think the viewers do too. So I normally ask a series of due diligence questions, just standard stuff in DeFi, like who controls the wallets? Do you guys have a multi-sig? Is it just you? How is that set up? Who's controlling the funds in the game?
Yeah, so it's just Vicky and myself. We're the two developers of this game. We both hold keys to the system. I hold the keys to the treasury, and Vicky owns all the ownership keys of the contracts. Okay. So we are KYC with Ava Labs with Avalanche. And I guess, you guys can, I'm pretty well doxxed, I think, at this point.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's just us. It's just the two of us. And we plan on keeping it that way.
Okay, cool. And who else is on the core team? It's you and Vader, aka, and that's Vicky, right?
Yep. We call him Vader. Back at home.
is there anybody else on the core team, and what
That's
countries
us.
is everybody from?
Yeah, it's just the two of us. Yep. Yeah. So Vicky's over in India right now,
Okay.
and yep, I'm in the US.
All right, sounds good. And how is the team compensated by the protocol?
I don't know if we're ever going to be. Honestly, I don't know if the protocol is going to be sustained with the protocol. What we're looking at, so we got full-time jobs. This is kind of just a passion hobby project for us right now. We would love to go full-time. Do not get me wrong. That's definitely an objective for us. We would love to build a team around this, quite honestly. That would really help accelerate development.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's one of our goals. We want to absolutely do that next year because we have all these, we think this thing has so much potential with the utilities and what we can really do for the space and make it just a cool Bitcoin place where you don't have to worry about these trash coin projects or whatever else. But it's just a nice game with some nice money and lots of stuff that's going on. So a lot of stuff to do.
So if this thing, takes off and it requires your full-time attention and everything, would that be an option for you to go full-time, quit your day job basically?
Yeah. I mean, that's everyone's dream, right? I would love to do. I mean, this is my passion, my baby, right? So I would more than anything would love to do that. But what you're seeing here, guys, is ultimately 2% of this is going to the system here. And depending on how we do, right, our goal, like I said, is to keep the lights on. We got to make sure those servers, these AWS servers, Jeff Bezos got to get paid. All right, guys, these things are not cheap.
Yeah.
And just to keep these servers spinning and keep them online, there's an expense to that. And if we want to get the word out and do marketing, there's a heavy expense to that.
Right.
And of course, like just building our team out and trying to get the people that we need. So yeah, we're in the hole pretty deep now through development and just our time and what we put into the game.
Yeah.
So maybe one day it'd be nice, to go full time and make a living out of this game. But for now, my worst fear is please don't let us have to bump that 2% up. Please let us keep it at 2%. Is that enough? Let it be enough. As a player, it's not fun when it's like, sorry guys, 10%, it's 11% PPS tech. It's 12% PPS tech. No one wants that.
Yeah.
No one wants 10, right? We want 0. But we want to make this game work. We want to make the game fun. So I think these rewards are super fun. What incentive to be a building owner? You want to be the best building owner you can be. What an incentive to be a game community leader. You want to be the best leader you can be, right? And the prize pools, everyone's getting cool prize pools. Everyone's trying for a jackpot. Hopefully we're keeping the lights on and the treasury just grows forever and ever. Amen.
All right. So do you, are your smart contracts audited or are they going to be audited?
They will be. Yeah. So it's on the very near future roadmap. So basically we're going to launch. Everything is cool. And then the next step is to kind of put some structure around the kind of what we're doing here as a team, and then get these things audited. We're really proud about our KYC with Ava Labs, like I mentioned a second ago. But yeah, we want to go all the way with the auditors, working through Ava Labs. And then, yeah.
All right, cool. Now, would the game be able to survive if you or one of the core team members left?
Yes, it would survive, but I mean, I guess it could be developed. I mean, yeah, it would. Yeah, it would survive, and I'm sure someone could pick it up. And as long as one of us, as long as we both, I guess, don't die at the same time, I guess we can give you some keys. I trust you, bro. So I can give you a pair of them, so you can keep the dream alive.
Yeah, I ask this as a business continuity question when analyzing business plans, and if you're the comptroller or the main financial guy or the lead guy with access to the treasury, and it's you and only you, if the proverbial beer truck or whatever hit you, and overnight all of a sudden, who controls that treasury wallet, or is the whole treasury frozen forever in time? Then do you have a continuity or insurance plan in that case?
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to get to the point to where we create that. So right now we do not have any kind of plan like that. It's basically my wife would call you, Alex, and would hook you up as part of my personal plan of my assets. Right? It's on my list where it's like, Alex, Bitfighter keys, here they are.
Damn, that's a big responsibility. So in that case, I would I would, obviously I would do that. You're my best friend and everything, but I would go to the 1K club, I think, and I would hold a vote, be like,
I like that.
who would you guys
that.
vote to take over as CEO of Bitfighters or whatever you know what I mean? And if they're like, it's
YaBonks, it's YaBonks.
Oh gosh, that's a big responsibility, man. I got a lot on my plate right now, but if I had to keep the dream alive, I would. But I would probably, I'm guessing, go to Vader or somebody like that.
As long as we're not both in the plane together.
Right. Yeah. Don't get on the same plane together. So yeah. And what about Vader? Do you know if he has a continuity plan? If something were to happen to him, would this dream stay alive, or do you have a?
I think that's just it's so that that to us is like, I don't want to say it's too far away, but it's not in like our near view focus right now. Like right now, it's like we got to just build this game, we got to launch this thing, and then we'll go look at like these like continuity plans.
Well, yeah, it's just like, does Vader have like I don't know, a family member or somebody that like a wife, or I don't know, or you even to have a backup pair of the keys for the wallet that controls all the smart contracts in the game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, so it's kind of like, I don't have a name for it, but there's a list of tasks that we want to do. We just want to make sure we launch this thing. It's semi-successful. It makes sense to go do these things. Right. And then like, if it does, and like, okay, yeah, this is getting serious, then that's when we take action and start. Yeah. It's just, I think it's a little premature for us at this point.
Absolutely. And I always ask this question, no matter what stage the project or company is in. Yeah. Sometimes I interview companies with tens of millions of dollars in their treasuries, and that question's like has very real consequences if like, thousands of investors lose tens of millions of dollars overnight, and they can't do anything about it. Reminds me of the guy who lost his cold wallet on a USB drive in a landfill with like $400 million worth of Bitcoin on it.
Totally different though, because that's his money, man. It's not other people's money. It's
but
totally
still, it just reminds me of like that. Those funds are there and only accessible by him, basically. Yeah. And with the game like this, obviously, at the stage you're in, it wouldn't be the end of the world.
Right.
It could, but if this thing really starts growing.
It's personally insured by me to a point, right? It's personally insured by me until like, if it starts growing, right, that's when we start taking action.
For sure.
Because at the end of the day, I mean, that's your legacy, right? What a terrible legacy. Oh, the guy built a sweet game, but yeah, he locked up all our funds and now the game's like locked forever.
Right.
Like, and that's not cool. I don't want that in my Wikipedia.
So I always got to ask that, and I'm glad it's on your mind at least, because, I'm a 1K club owner, and I know a bunch of my friends in my community are also 1K club owners, and right now, like, those are reasonably accessible price-wise, but I know they go up incrementally in price. So, like, say somebody drops, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 at some point in the future on those NFTs, maybe more, because they start scaling in value, and somebody, if the Treasury ever got locked up or something. So it's like, I just paid $5,000 for a 1K club. Oh, what the hell? Anyway, I doubt that would happen. It's such a small extreme case, but I always got to ask that just so we can all fully understand the risk reward profile here. And at the early stage you guys are at, it's not really a big deal or anything, but always something to keep in mind as you guys grow, because in DeFi, something like this can blow up overnight. You might not see it coming, and then you might be like treading water, like, oh my gosh, we got millions of dollars we got to take care of. And then those other considerations, they might fall to the wayside, but they're so important in those situations when they do blow up.
That's the time where you go full-time Bitfighters and spend the time, taking care of that kind of thing.
For sure.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Good answer. Great things to think about. And do you think your project, your game Bitfighters, would survive if the bear market continues for another year or two?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as long as people want to stick around and play the game, as long as it's fun. I mean, Bitcoin goes to zero, we're all screwed. That's for sure.
That's true. That is true. I don't think that. I think Bitcoin's going to be approaching the limit in the other direction. It's going to be approaching infinity.
I agree. I mean, look at it against land, look at it against the dollar, look at it against anything.
Yeah.
It's tearing away from everything. So I'm with you, but I stand by that. If Bitcoin ever, like, if something breaks it, I don't care what it is. You fill in the blank. But if something breaks it, civilization's doomed. Humans are doomed, man. We're already debt slaves. It's so bad as it is. I mean, just look around, right? Look at the grocery bills. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible.
It's crazy, dude.
We're just gonna get choked out. The middle class gets choked out forever. What are you gonna do? Bitcoin's it, man. Bitcoin's it. And if it isn't, we're doomed. Bitcoin is it's the Jesus, man. If he ain't it, we're doomed.
Well, I think that's an interesting answer. But yes, so this is as long as Bitcoin doesn't go to absolute zero, the game's still fully operational in the exact same way for the most part. And so it's basically bear and bull market agnostic. However, if you are earning bits in the game, those bits could be worth a lot of money someday. So like, what if somebody like Serenity, who's really good at the game, wins a few fights, he has a few weeks or months in the sun, his time to shine, his glory in the arena, and he stacks up quite a few in-game bits. But then life happens and he gets caught up, with family and work and all this stuff. He forgets about the game for a little bit. And then 5 years later, he's like, oh yeah, Bitcoin's like $300,000 right now. Man, I think I have some bits and bitfighters. And he goes and checks. Maybe he's got like 10 grand sitting there that like was worth a couple $100 at that time. Now it's worth thousands of dollars. I think that's a cool thing to think about in terms of like, bear market, bull market considerations. But
imagine all the players that set up passive revenue streams within bitfighters that would just been getting bits sent to their wallet 24/7 for 5 years.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's why I love all these things that give me exposure to Bitcoin.
Yep.
And this is one of them, like the 1K Club. What does it say there? It says 40% of the Treasury yield goes to the 1K Club.
Yeah.
So
every month, forever and ever.
Every month, forever and ever. And that's so super cool. All right, so what do you think is the biggest risk to participants in bitfighters?
I'll tell you right off the bat. I know what it. A week or two ago, I don't know if I'd be so confident in that answer, but now I feel pretty confident. Guys, when you play this game, it's no joke. Listen, don't go betting big right off the bat. You need to just play antes. Just play the smallest minimum, like the minimum you can bet the ante, and just learn. Because these guys have been playing for a few weeks and they will wreck you guys. I'm not even joking, man.
That's awesome, though. That just a couple weeks of playing the game and they're like pool sharks, basically. Yeah. They're like prize fighters, dude.
Some dude's gonna come in here and bet a couple $100 on his first fight, being cocky because he's the gamer and he's gonna get wrecked and he's gonna get pissed. Dude. And I'm like, you didn't watch the YaBonks video, man. And
then Serenity's going to come in there with like a brand new bitfighter he just minted to be like, I don't know how to play the game. And the guy's like, I'm going to whoop this guy. Here's $100 on the table. And Serenity's going to be like, boom. And take the $100. Like,
everyone's betting on him. Everyone's tipping him. Yeah. Man. He's on his next YouTube video rolling up in his Lambo.
Dude, I love that. I know that sounds weird, but like, it's like pool sharks, man. They pretend like they suck.
Super competitive.
Oh, I'm terrible, man. Don't, you're gonna take, here's $20. Sure, I guess I'll play. And, I'm not really very good or anything, but then they just like wipe the floor with the person, win the bet, go to the next bar, do the same thing. And like I can see that happening in here where somebody like Serenity, maybe he buys 10 or 20 bitfighter NFTs and gives them each different names and looks, so you can't tell them apart. And then he just like joins the server as an anon, an anonymous person.
Isn't that awesome?
And he comes in, acts like a noob, and then like gets a big bet against him, and then just like wipes the floor with somebody, walks away with like a full day's pay or something in Bitcoin. I love that thought. I love the thought of that. It's fun. It's dynamic. And then it makes you have to watch out. Like, don't underestimate anybody. Like, you don't know who you're fighting.
Yeah.
You know, you just don't know. So anyway, so that's the biggest risk, you think, is people betting too big as noobs in the game, not realizing that there are some people who are good at the game. So so bet small antes at first until you learn the ropes and you get good.
That's my game advice.
Okay. Cool. Now, where do you see bitfighters in like 6 months, in a year, in 5 years? Where do you see bitfighters in that time frame?
So I think as we go into 2024, if we get some kind of traction and we get the support that we need, I would like to see a small development team being formed early 2024. And then through all of next year, I would like to have Vader and I go full time and roll out get this whole roadmap cranked out as fast as possible next year. And by that time, I mean, things should be popping. And so I think the sky's the limit. It's crazy, guys. I got we have all kinds of like utility and functions on this thing that we can just keep adding on. I mean, I'm not even going to scratch the surface on this. It's crazy. So if you guys are familiar with the economy loop that we're going to be rolling out, it's really the core of how everything's just going to branch out with utility and businesses and these other kinds of crazy buildings and things you can do. Like you heard Alex and I just like crack up a second ago talking about like cars and stuff and vehicles. Absolutely. Like that's just what you do. It's utility again. And it's just think of, after we build these things, what's left? So much. There's so much you can do. So we'll stay busy. We'll have plenty of stuff to do to just create utility after utility constantly, pretty much indefinitely, until we get to the point where like there's just nothing left to do in this game. We've done it all. Then maybe at that point, I couldn't tell you what that's going to be. Probably, I did estimate this before. I think it's going to take 2 to 3 years to really build this game out to how I envision it with a decent team. So I would say like 3 years, this game will pretty much hit like 90+% solidified. There might be like a 10% kind of, we change it up every now and then, make it fresh or do some kind of, something different. But 2 to 3 years, I think we'll get there. But I'd like to see it be huge. I mean, come on, what other game is doing BTC like that? And what other game is giving all this representation to the players, the communities, and funneling everything back to the players one way or another? Yeah, I don't know of any.
I don't know of any either. And unless they're like just casino games, browser-based, like cut and paste casino type games. And you and me have played a lot of those before we got into this sector of DeFi.
I absolutely love Stake. I think Stake is amazing. What they did there, I mean, it's a social casino and everything. It's really cool. I just feel like they're missing that visual piece, that walking around with other people and seeing these other avatars and stuff. There's something about that that when you get it out of tech, like we all like to hang out in Discord and Telegram, the chats and everything, right? And chats are great, but there's just something about having that visual representation on a screen and walking around that just takes it to a different level. And it doesn't have to be much. Really, you get that effect just from some sprites on a screen. Like it's that. That's it.
It just makes it so much more fun where like you'll be cracking up for no reason. Like me and you, how many hours have we spent in games or like virtual online worlds like that where you're just like a little sprite walking around in different rooms chatting with people, cracking up, having the time of your life for like no reason.
It's already happening here. So if you check out Serenity's live stream, I mean, you can see him like everyone's like goofing around in the HQ and stuff, and they're just cracking up. It's great.
That's awesome.
It doesn't take much to whatever that effect is. It doesn't take a lot to create it, but it's so valuable. Like those are like the memorable times, and
that live stream was epic, and it's already Serenity's most popular video, I think.
Yeah, I can't believe it. It's his thumbnail. I can't believe it. He made a killer thumbnail for that thing.
And like what, a day or two, like it's got like 3,000 or 4,000 views already, and it's like his most popular video on his channel, and it's still going. So that just shows you how exciting it is, for people in the DeFi community looking for an actual game. And not only that, but a game you can earn Bitcoin in and walk around and hang out and chat and hang out just like an actual virtual world. And you hear the word like metaverse thrown around. Everybody's always talking about like metaverse this and metaverse that. And I've heard it so much where I'm just like, when somebody says that, I roll my eyes almost. Same. I'm like, right, sure, you're making a metaverse, but this is like you actually made something like that. But I won't even say that it's a metaverse because I don't want to disrespect it because of like the
that's like a Zuckerberg thing. I don't know.
Yeah,
I just call it an online world, like World of Warcraft or any kind of
online virtual
worlds.
world.
Yeah, virtual online worlds.
Yeah, and I love
good
it,
enough
dude.
for anybody.
So,
hey,
what's that?
Well, I just wanted to say, I don't have much time. I gotta get going here soon.
Same. I have one more. I have my final.
All right.
Question, and then that's it.
All right, dude. Let's do it.
Well, my final question is actually: do you have anything else you want to tell the audience today? So, so that was it.
Nice. Yeah, man. I just want to say thanks, dude. Thanks for having me on the show. Just watching you kind of grow this whole time. It's been awesome, man. I hope I'm one of your biggest fans. I feel like I'm one of your biggest fans. I love watching you do your thing, man. And it's cool that I'm finally here. I'm on the YaBonks show. I did it, guys. I did it. I made it big time. I love the YaBonks show, man. Especially the Friday prize giveaways. It was the best.
I'm honored, man. Thank you for saying that. It's been a wild ride, and you've been here with me since the beginning and before that. So it's really cool that we've both come so far in the DeFi space. I mean, you're leading a major project that's making waves right now. One of the biggest games in the space coming out right now. So it's so cool seeing you launching that with like, I can't even imagine, tens of thousands of hours of blood, sweat, and tears going into this game. And yet you pulled it off. You're doing it. So I love it, man. And I'm always happy to have you on my show. It's kind of surreal interviewing my best friend now, who is launching one of the most popular DeFi games in the space. It's really cool.
We did it, bro. Our worlds collided. We did it, man. Yes. We did it, bro.
Hey, entrepreneurship. Am I right?
I mean, listen, here's how I see it. If there's something like you want to see happen, like you just got to go do it. You can't. What's the point waiting for someone else to do it? No one's going to do it for you. No one's going to make this game, guys. No one's making this kind of game. So this is the game that I wanted, guys. This is it, man. This is it. I don't have to worry about no coins going to zero. I have all kinds of ways to win, play, earn. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah. So. You know what's crazy? For the last 8 years, maybe even the last 10 years that I've known you, you've been talking about you wanting a game that you actually will like want to play, and there's nothing quite what you're looking for. You've had this vision kind of bitfighters even before Bitcoin came into the equation, but then a couple years into it, we talked about, man, incorporating Bitcoin and DeFi into that vision you had. And it was so cool when you would be like, hey, could you make this game? Because I was the programmer. You were just like always full of ideas. You're like, dude, I have this great idea. I'm like, that is a great idea. And you're like, could you make it for me? And I'm like, no, learn how to program. You did. And nobody does that. All right. Do you know how many people come to me with their, pie in the sky ideas for a game or an app, try to get me to develop it because I'm a coder, and I say, here's my hourly rate, right? That's how you stop them real quick. Here's my hourly rate. And then they're like, oh, never mind. And I'm like, or learn how to code. And you're just
and you helped me. That's what you did, man. You taught me how to fish. Dude, guys, Alex sent me with Node. He got me in like Phaser and stuff. And he's like, here's how you like start a project, and here's how you like develop and start building this thing. And here's how you push it to the GitHub repo. And here's how you do this. I'm like, all right, cool. I got that. And then I made a prototype.
You asked me for help, and you're like, hey, how do I get started? I'm like, okay, start maybe with some JavaScript and maybe some HTML, CSS, and then here's some frameworks. Once you figure that out.
Around the screen. Yeah, I was coming from an ActionScript 3. So I was making games before that, but I was doing like Flash. I was doing Flash and ActionScript, which is similar to JavaScript. I just wasn't hip with all this NPM, like the Node package manager stuff, and getting all these different packages. And
you weren't familiar with the server side, server client game development's different, and you picked it up though, man. It was like crazy. Like I've told many people, just that's a great idea. Learn how to code, teach yourself online, and maybe after a couple months you'll be able to make it. And then you came back, you're like, all right, I think I got the basics. What next? I'm like, oh, okay. Well, here's a game framework called Phaser.io. You can use all those new JavaScript skills with, and you just kept rolling with it, man. And now, like years and years later, you're like a professional game developer. at your day job, at your passion project with bitfighters, and you're leading a team of developers now. It's so cool seeing your game development career progress over the time I've known you. And yeah, when you tell somebody to learn how to code, most people just roll their eyes, but you rolled up your sleeves and you did it.
Thanks, man. It means a lot. I love it, dude. And I can't wait to code storm with you again someday, man.
We will. We will, man. Someday soon. I can't wait to get back to making games as well. It's super fun. Once I've got this business making millions of dollars a year and it's on autopilot, I'm gonna go back to some game development, I think, too.
I look forward to it, bro.
Hey, thanks so much for taking all the time to do this with do this AMA with me. I'll where can people find you first off? Before we wrap this up, where can people find you?
Yeah, so find me. You guys can find me in the Discord somewhere. Right, I'm around the Discord, but if you guys go to bitfighters.club is our website. Top right corner, you'll see all the links to our socials, and I'll be around there somewhere.
Okay, and I will put the link to bitfighters.club and the Discord server and Twitter and everything in the description of the YouTube video. And make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. Leave a comment. It helps the algorithm. Let's tell more people about bitfighters, because the more people that hear about this, the more players we'll have in the game, and the more Bitcoin will be flowing through the in-game economy for us all to, you know, prosper from and earn some Bitcoin playing a video game, which I think is amazing. So, yeah, that's all I got for you. Zach, audience, thank you guys so much for your time. Anything else you want to say, Zach?
Hey, guys, thanks for hanging out. Glad you made it to the end of the video. We'll see you in the HQ.
Sounds good. And thank you, everybody, for watching. I'll see you on the next one.
Peace.